Hello and welcome back to Pete's Classic Cycle. Today we are going to get the Big Horn running one way or another. And joining me in the garage is the man behind the camera, a close friend, Brandon, who has never once turned a wrench on anything, let alone a motorcycle. So it's going to be a bit of a learning experience. So regardless, this is going to make out for one interesting day. So first step when working on a bike like this, I always like to pull the carburetor and check the bottom end for oil that might have leaked through the check valves over the years, because we don't want a lockup situation. But if you look at this bike, the carburetor is not where you typically find it. You know, normally you find it to the back of the cylinder, mounted upright, but on this bike, it's actually hidden beneath this cover. And that's because it's a rotary valve motor. So the air gets sucked in from under the seat where the air filter is, through the cases, around the clutch, into the carburetor, through the rotary disc valve, and then into the bottom end that way. So it's pretty cool. It's not something I've really worked on before, so we'll figure this out together. So let's go ahead, pull this cover off, see what's underneath there. Hopefully it's not too much work and we can get this thing fired up today. So because these screws have been in here for, who knows, 50 years, we're going to go ahead and just use an impact to crack them loose. Just give them a little smack. So we're just going ahead, pulling all the cables off of the carburetor. I've actually noticed bits of air filter that have dried and gotten sucked through. So this is another reason why you always do your preliminary checks before starting a bike like this, because who knows how much of that filter has already been eaten by the motor, or how much is just waiting to get sucked in the second you start this thing up. So the carburetor is off the bike, and I am noticing quite a bit of oil that's sitting inside the intake there. And if you have a quick listen, you can just hear there's a lot of there's a lot of noise coming out of there, plus oil spewing out. I'm guessing there's some oil in the bottom end. How much, we'll find out right now. But it's a good thing we didn't try to start this thing ahead of time, because by the way it's looking right now, there's a good chance of hydro lock. So right now I'm just trying to find a way to get this handy dandy dipstick down into the bottom of the motor. The reason being, once it's down there, we can suck it out, suck all the oil out. But this is just a pretty tricky spot. Okay, so change of plans. Obviously there's a lot of oil in the bottom end. Due to the type of intake this is, I can't just get my dipstick down into the bottom of the crank to suck it all out. So easiest route or plan of attack for this is to pull the top end, just 4 simple bolts. We'll yank this up and then shove the dipstick down to suck the oil out. So plan B, let's pull the top end off. Nothing's holding this on, it's just stuck. Yeah. I don't want to necessarily pry in there. And
what's the best method of removal when it comes down to something like this?
Just keep your hands on that in case it pops off.
There you go, there you go, there you go, there you go. Oh, there you go.
That's the cylinder coming loose, but we need the head to separate from the cylinder.
You got movement, but not just in
so the cylinder's coming off of the motor.
It's not just in the...
But we need to separate up here, not just down there. So a couple issues, as you saw, the cylinder head is stuck to the cylinder, but that doesn't actually really stop what we're trying to accomplish. We got the cylinder up just enough we can actually get the dipstick down in there to check for the oil and suck it out. So just to show, I've got my dipstick, shove it in there, we'll pull it out. You can see how much oil is in there. So there's about at least minimum of an inch filled the lower cases. So this is perfect. We can go ahead, we'll suck that oil out. And because the top end isn't completely removed, we'll just slam that back down, bolt it on, and hopefully it's good enough for our first fire today. This is why you never just kickstart an old bike, especially if it feels like it has a lot of compression, like a lot. That's probably because you're just pushing fluid around there, which, as we all know, is not compressible.
Look at that fill up, dude.
Yeah.
That's all oil?
That's all oil. So from the oil tank, it leaks down through the hose, through the pump, through that check valve, and fills up.
Look at that.
Oh yeah. Sorry for the rude interruption. I just want to take a quick second to thank those who support Pete's Classic Cycle, such as SPECTRO Performance Oils, Rick's Motorsport Electrics, and most importantly, all of you for following me on this journey, watching these videos, subscribing. I couldn't do it without all of your support and encouragement. So thanks again. Now back to the build. So this right here is a perfect example why you always go through these initial checks before starting one of these old bikes, because although, like I said, it felt like it had tons of compression, it was just a little bit too much compression, if you know what I mean. Thank goodness we did this check, because if we were to just put gas down here and fired it up, it for sure 100% would have blown up the bottom end very, very bad, probably resulting in a completely new motor. Now to top this thing up with oil, of course, we're using the SPECTRO Gear Lube SAE 80. Alrighty. Well, it runs. The reason there's not much smoke, again, the bottom end was completely filled with oil. The exhaust chambers were filled with oil, so obviously it's running super, super rich right now. That's why I've got the oil pump disconnected, only running premix. But man, it works. Well, that was a great success. We obviously had a bit of issues with the oil on the bottom end, but nothing I'm not used to here. We just had to kind of change directions and change our game plan a little bit. Brandon, this is your first time working on the bike. You're usually the guy behind the camera, so people don't really see you. But what are your thoughts first time working on a classic bike?
I mean, it's not as easy as it looks, but it's definitely intriguing. Something like this, I mean, to get my hands on and to be able to work on is unique in that sense. But I look forward to learning more, of course. And I feel like there's always more to be learned. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a big takeaway from this is you've got no background in mechanics or motorcycles, but this is just proof and testament that you don't have to be an expert to work on these bikes. With a little bit of guidance, YouTube videos or online forums and tutorials, really anybody can work on these very simple machines. Take that as a word of encouragement to anybody who's kind of new to bikes, who's scared to get into a project like this. And now I do have this big pile of new old stock parts behind me, so now it is time for the fun part, to tear this bike down and rebuild it into the trail-tearing, mud-slinging, mountain-climbing big horn that this thing was meant to be. So thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode, and as always, please ride safe.